Halloween's coming up soon, I'm going to share how to do a super easy special effects cut slash wound, but I'm going to include some tips and tricks on how to make it look super realistic opposed to just like super gory and bloody. If you're new to my content or my channel, my name is Ruby. I'm a professional makeup artist and content creator from Vancouver, but I work full-time in social media now. I used to work in the film industry where I specialize in prosthetic effects. The wound I'm going to be showing you today, I'm going to be using wax, so it is probably, I would say, one of the more accessible materials for doing special effects makeup. It's also fairly easy to use. It's not the absolute most realistic looking prosthetic wound you could have. There are other, obviously more professional options, but the point of this, I want to share something that might be good for Halloween costume or a little special effects wound for fun. Okay, so first I'm starting out with the materials I'm going to use. So I have these materials and I'll go through them step by step. So first starting out with a little sponge and some Prostate. This step I'm going to say is optional, but it is good to do if you want this makeup to last a long time, if you're going to be moving around a lot or sweating, it just helps it stay on longer. And then we have the wax. So I like to start by taking a little bit of wax. There's different types of wax you can use, but this is the Sin Wax from Mehron. I like how this one looks because it's very translucent and gives a very skin-like look. But the Ben Nye wax is a little bit more pliable. This one can be a little bit tough to maneuver at sometimes. So I take some Vaseline, alternating between using my fingers and a spatula to smooth this down onto the area, almost as if it's a second skin on your skin. And then I take a spatula and cut out where I want the wound to go. This can be any shape you want, and you probably have to go back in and smooth it again just because that's the nature of wax. Be careful when you do this step though, because you don't want to press too hard on your skin, obviously, because the spatula is metal, but I recommend using something very blunt and rounded at the end. And then next, to create some texture, I take a black stipple sponge and alternating between swiping and stippling motions, just kind of blending this even more into my skin. Obviously, our skin is not completely smooth, it's not completely flat, so we don't want our wound to look like that either. Okay, so this is how it's looking now. Okay, then I seal this with Prostate or latex. You can use either or, but you won't really be able to paint this wound without stippling something like that over it to seal it, because the paint just simply won't stick. And then I like to powder between, but you can even kind of use the material almost as a Bondo filler to fill any edges if you have any left. And then onto the painting. I like using Skin Illustrator alcohol activated paints for this. First stippling over natural tones, first that match my skin tone, and then some red and blue to blend in with the skin, because obviously our skin has different tones in it. And then using the color Rose Adjuster to give a fresh kind of look to the outside of the wound. I take little tiny bits at a time with pretty diluted paint and stipple it with a brush and my fingers. And then to deepen the wound, I go in with the darker red shades from Skin Illustrator as well, stippling them on. And then lastly, I like to take some blood gel. My favorite one's Krylon, but I also love the Graftobian one. It gives a very natural look. I find that blood gel just looks a little bit more natural and it doesn't drip around as much, obviously. And I like to start out small with blood because you can always add more, but it can be more difficult to take it away. And also the other thing is to make something look realistic, sometimes less is more. That's one of my biggest tips for making a wound look realistic, is using natural tones very minimally in very specific pinpointed areas. You can even look at reference images if you like for this, but I find that that works really well. And also having dimension in the colors, so not just using one. Sometimes I personally find that using less fake blood can actually look more realistic. The movement on the wax is also pretty good, although if you do put it on a soft area, it can wrinkle a little bit. So I'd recommend doing the wax on a harder, more bony surface. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'd also love to hear what type of special effects and makeup, prosthetic things you guys might want to see on my channel going forward, because I want to start making some more prosthetic and special effects makeup content, but I'd love to hear what you're most interested in learning about, whether that be making prosthetics, making molds, or more little easy tutorials like this. So yeah, definitely let me know, and I will see you guys soon.